Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's good to see y'all again, Guardians. Welcome here to Bungie
Welcome,
HQ.
Guardians.
We're broadcasting live
This
from
is a
beautiful
reaction
Bellevue,
video to
Washington.
the
Today
Heresy
with our
live
stream
stream
that's going to be talking through
of
some of the awesome stuff you're
new
going to
season
be able to check out
coming
just
to Destiny
next week.
next
Act
week.
1 of episode Heresy launches on February
Let's see
4th.
what they got
Now,
cooking.
worry not, you're not going to just have to sit here and listen to me.
We are
My name's
worried
Andy.
after
I work
this
on the social
season
media team
and the
here at
last
Bungie,
season.
But I've got some amazing colleagues here to go ahead and share some of the finer
Let's go.
details of all the cool stuff we're going to be checking out today.
Oh, he got the emo guy on the
To
back.
not waste any time and show y'all what you came here to see, let's go ahead and introduce everyone so we can get to it.
Let's go.
First things first.
I'm also wearing the hat. We all wearing the hats. You guys watching this? Please wear the hat. We all wear the hats.
Mr. Sorry, the one and only Mr. Nico Stevens, narrative architect here at Bungie. Nico, how's it going, man?
I'm doing great.
How's it going, bro?
How are you doing, Andy?
Doing well, thank you. Obviously, your first time joining us. For anyone that may not have followed you on social media or maybe wondering what it is a narrative architect does, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I joined
I'm gonna be
Bungie-
next.
Bungie. I joined Bungie back in Season of Undying, like right at the tail end of that, and I've been working on seasonal content from then up until now and doing the episode stuff.
Yeah.
And I've done a few annual releases here and there, did some Final Shape stuff. People might know my work from Presage or Warlord's Ruin or.
I know what
Some
you're
of those.
doing.
Prestige is
I
like
like
my
that one.
favorite exotic mission of all time.
Not like I hated it
I'm
as a
a
start
little
because
biased. I do love it.
you have to
So
transfer
much. We can talk
the
about that at
whatever
another
you have
time.
to
Yeah,
transfer.
thank you
It's
for
so
being here,
annoying.
Nico. We
But
appreciate it.
later on.
Next to him,
good.
someone who's joined us in the past.
I
Actually, if you
got,
joined us for our episode,
annihilated on
Heresy
the forums
stream,
and I said I didn't
you
like
probably
it.
recognize his face immediately. The one and only Ryan
I had to
Harris,
die from
senior
all the
designer here at
attacks.
Bungie.
Like, how come you don't like it?
How's
It's
it
so
going? Doing
good.
well, man. Thank you
You
very
don't
much.
know how to play.
For anyone that maybe
Like, bro,
didn't join
chill,
us
bro.
on the last Echo stream or is just seeing you for the
Not
first
that
time,
serious, man.
can you tell us
Just a
just a
game.
little bit about who you are and what you do here?
For sure, yeah. So I'm
I
a
guess
senior
this is a
action
little
designer
introduction,
here at
so
Bungie.
we just
I've been around since Season of the
waiting
Plunder.
for the good
Folks
stuff.
may know my content
Rolling in.
that I've worked on from
They see
most
me
recently,
rolling.
the Battlegrounds.
They hating.
From Echoes, and then before that, Sons of Spire, and then the Defiant Battlegrounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
another one.
It's
today
an
to
hour
add to the
presentation,
best
so
hits, obviously.
I'll probably
Yeah, well,
maybe
thank you for
like
being here, Ryan. We appreciate
cut
it.
the best
And
moments or
last but
something.
very
I'll
not least,
just
someone who needs no
the
introduction,
whole
a
thing,
friend to
but I
all
don't know
Guardian
anybody's
kind,
gonna
a
stick for
voice
1
of all
hour
of you
of
fine
this.
folks out in chat
Not
here in the
this,
studio.
this.
The Youngblood Dillionaire himself, Dylan Gaffner. Dylan, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you. How are you doing, Andy?
Thank you.
Question
I'm
number
also
3.
glad to be
Doing
here.
so
Thank
well,
you for
thank you.
recognizing me as well.
Exclamation point, period.
I play
to
game.
that same
I don't
end,
make a game, but
you are the global community lead
appreciate
here.
that.
Can you tell the folks at home that may not have accosted you on Blue Sky or anything like that?
Blue
just a
Sky.
little bit about who you are
bro.
and what it is you do here.
where's the
Yeah,
blue sky, man?
We're listening. I'm that guy. Bread,
Dude,
hashtag meme.
what?
But ultimately,
Blue
yeah,
sky.
we on the community team, we make sure to field all your feedback, get a
God.
roadmap of comms together. For
I don't know.
what's
They
in the
never
trade,
replied.
how
Do
can
they
we set
reply to you guys? They never
expectations,
replied to me.
What's all the cool stuff going on in Destiny?
I don't even say anything bad.
in the
I
game
never
or
eat.
outside of it too.
Yeah.
I just asked
Speaking
for
of
to
outside of it, I wanna do a
remove
quick
the
shout out to
champion
Mac
mods.
Dix.
That's super annoying.
We have a game
Take
to
us
give
to
charity
space.
marathon going on right now. Actually, his time slot coincides with ours. So throughout this, we're going to be dropping links in chat to his charity page.
Awesome.
So if you want to support a good cause, help out the Bungie Foundation and all the people in need, yeah, hit up that link,
Yeah.
check out the incentives, and donate some money.
You guys can also use my gift
Totally fine.
for your
Yeah,
own
spread the word.
stuff, not
And hey, do
like
yourself a huge favor
charities.
while
and
you're out
stuff.
there. Give Mactix a follow. Steal some of his builds. I
Support
know I
your
do.
own
I mentioned it last
gifts.
stream. All right,
Support
so
each
that is
other.
enough about us. Let's talk about the cool things that you guys have been building. Obviously, we're
Let's see
about
what
to
they've
go
been
ahead
doing.
and arrive at Act 1 of Heresy. But before we get there,
gonna be
Nico,
Act
I'd love to
1.
ask you really quickly, what got us to where we are today? Obviously, we're concluding
Interesting
episode
question.
Revenant,
What
but
happened
a
with
lot
the
has
last
occurred.
season?
Can you catch
What did
anyone
we
up
do?
at home about what happened last time?
What happened? Yeah, what
so,
happened? What happened?
The story of the Echoes, which the episodes encompass, has it was kicked off from the Final Shape. So at the end of the Final Shape, we
Yeah.
kill the witness.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers, sorry.
Spoilers, bro. It's been around for a while.
So we take
Like,
out
everybody
the witness,
knew,
and
right?
from the witness and from the Pale Heart, we see
man.
all of these echoes
like
burst out.
That's when
and start
Destiny
flying
picked and
across
then
Sol.
it just
Yeah.
died
The
down
first
again.
one that we encounter was in the hands of Maya
I
Sundaresh.
guess everybody just wanted
We
to
dealt with
finish
her.
it.
She escaped.
Be done with the game and
second
move
one we
on.
encountered was in the hands of Fikrul. We
Listen,
dealt with him.
Marvel
He did
rivals.
not escape. And then the third one that we are encountering is going to be here in the Dreadnought. And after it left the Pale Heart, a very specific dread that we're going to be
I skipped with
seeing
the story. I
this
barely can
episode,
keep up with the story.
gave chase to it.
pieces. I know general
so we're
stuff,
going to be
but-
dealing with the Dread and the
Other
Taken
than that,
and
like-
the Hive all revolving around this third Echo.
Excellent.
don't
Very
know.
exciting. All right, so we now We have
It's a
up
little
on
bit
screen
hard to
here in
keep
just a
up,
moment.
especially
I
when
think,
you have to
the
move
key
like
art now for this next
back from
episode.
holo
There's
projector
a lot
to the
going on
person
here.
standing
Nico,
next
I'll
to
leave
it,
to
and
you.
back
Can you
and
tell us
forth.
just a little bit about what we're seeing
Like,
here?
dude, why can't we
Yeah,
just
yeah,
get like
so,
Bible story when we
I
like
think the
play,
first thing that's
right?
probably going to draw a
Can
lot of
just like
people's eye
call me,
is that
tell me
ghostly
about it.
visage of Oryx peeking over the top there.
Projector.
Yeah.
Oh, we're listening on the
So
radio.
Oryx is, I'll just say
Dude,
Oryx
come
is back to some capacity.
Damn,
right?
Oryx is back. Okay.
And the Echo has a lot to do with that. So not only are the Guardians jumping through, trying to figure out what exactly is going on in this first act, but they're dealing with this old foe that has been dredged up from the bones of the Dreadnought.
Yeah.
And I don't want to reveal too much, but yeah, we're going
that's
to
all
be.
right.
Yeah,
gonna be
I guess
clashing.
those
The
guys
Guardians
gonna
will
have
be
to
there
do
very
something with
soon. But so we're dealing
time
obviously again with the
activity
taking
for
against
5
the
seconds
form.
damage.
So we have some old
Maximum
foes
DPS.
returning, but before we go ahead and move on into gameplay and dive
You only
into
have
that,
5 seconds to activate the eyes,
we have
bro.
some old
And then you have
allies returning as well.
7
Can you tell
seconds
us
for
about some of the
DPS,
folks we're
bro.
going to be working with this time around
Bring
as
the
well?
power.
Yeah, so our main cast right now
Bring the big
is
gun.
Eris Morn, which is
Oh,
our
kick.
resident witch
DPS
hive
or kick.
expert. A lot of people know her from the season of The Witch, aptly named, or even further back. Season of Arrivals is kind of like the first time that she jumped back into this new sort of saga story arc.
Okay.
So we have Eris Morn. She is, as I said, our resident hive expert.
Oh, Eris
We
Morn.
have the
I like her.
Drifter, her
She's pretty
faithful
cool.
companion, who's following
have
alongside
one story with her.
and helping us kind of pick apart what the Taken are doing here.
Kind of mystic.
And I
Like
think I said
Zavala.
at some point before that he always has his
That
finger
guy
in, the
in
wheel
final
of
shape.
the universe.
In that mission, he
And
just
there's
stands
some
behind
weird
the shield
going
like a
on
whole
here.
time.
And
Whole
then
time with the
finally,
after rifle.
We have Deputy Commander Sloan.
Doesn't even have any mods, bro.
And Sloan is our Titan representation.
He's
here.
helping us.
People
She's
will
protecting the
remember
grave,
her
bro.
From Season of the Deep,
Dude.
or even the Red War.
Zavala.
And she has been afflicted with this like Taken corruption that we saw back in Season of the Deep, and she's learned how to sort of hold it back, but also utilize it to make her stronger.
Yeah.
So she is going to be teaching us some of that.
Yeah.
Taking
That's,
notes.
we're going beyond once again.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's safe to say. So we've obviously got a whole new cast of friends and enemies to go up against, but really quickly as well.
What, the Hive's
something we
going
were
to come
talking
out
about
alive?
early on the show is the player journey as well. It's something you guys are really excited about this time around. Can you tell us a little bit about how players are going to be experiencing some of these quests?
Yeah. So.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so players have been talking a lot about the structure of the player journey and how they'd kind of like to see it shaken up a bit, right? So this is going to be kind of one of our first steps into trying to make that happen in a more tangible way.
Cool.
So you will still notice some
Tangible
of those
way?
elements of like returning to a
More
vendor or something like
cars?
that. But you're also going to notice that we're doing a lot more bespoke, spread out delivery for these beats. You're going to find characters like in the midst of a mission sometimes.
Yeah.
You're going
Is it gonna
there's
help?
some new tech that I don't want to spoil. I want players
Or
to
is
see
it gonna
at the
attack
game.
again?
Yeah.
But there's some new tech having to do with the way that we would holo project characters.
Yeah.
And that sort
Oh,
of projection
finally. We
area
don't
that
have
you
to
would
go
find
to the helo projector now?
We're expanding that out so that it's
Nice.
a little bit more versatile.
You used to
and
call me on
is,
my cell phone.
More cognizant of where players want to be and less about like having to return to this one spot.
Oh,
and kind of loop through it over and
finally.
over again.
It's only
Well,
been
thank you,
5
Gustav. I'm
years.
sure our audience are
5
going to let
years.
Dylan know and his compatriots loud and clear what we're looking for.
Finally.
are
They
happy
can
to hear that.
call.
So
They
that's
can
good.
call you on the
Let me
ghost
go to
now.
the helm. Let me talk to this character. Let me go back to the helm.
Oh, wow.
This character.
Projector
Whoa.
somewhere in there?
They
Yeah.
finally
Okay,
got
that's
the
right.
message.
All right. Well, really
Beautiful.
exciting.
Thank
So
you,
as we
guys.
kind of move into that player journey, we're going to be working on something called the Path of Resolve. Can you tell us just a little bit about what that is before we dive into the gameplay here in just a moment?
Yes.
Just
so,
a moment. Just a moment. Been 5 minutes
there is
ago.
An event that happens
I'm
at
naive.
the beginning of the episode,
Exciting.
which people will see very, very soon after the launch.
Yeah.
And this sort of kicks off. I'm going to choose my words very carefully here.
Redacted.
Redacted, yes.
This redacted event sort of kicks off Sloane's
Redacted.
motivation for teaching us
Or
about
returning
the taken power
stuff.
that she has been holding back.
Yeah.
Unvaulting
that is
the old
the
stuff.
Path of Resolve here.
Again.
She's going to be teaching us how to fight fire with fire. We're going to be going into the Dreadnought,
actually.
taking some control of that taken energy, taking some control of those old hive magics, and wielding them.
Old hive
using
magic,
our light
bro.
And using our paracausality,
is
wielding
pretty
that new power against our enemies.
Very nice.
Damn. game.
We're going to be obviously keeping Sloan very busy.
Oh, yeah.
With that. But speaking of, we actually have our requisite local fire team here in-house in the activity as well.
Local fire team.
Ryan, this is the Nether. This is the new activity that's going to be arriving with Act 1 of Episode Heresy.
New activity. Okay. Let's check it out.
Can you tell us just a little bit about what this is for starters as we go ahead and
I wasn't a big
dive
fan
into
of this
Yeah,
season.
so the Nether is a 3-player activity, and we are back on the Dreadnought's patrol zones. And we'll be exploring the Dreadnought, rooting out the,
okay.
the
I remember
Taken
this
Hunt
area.
and Dread Corruption that are taking place
Damn.
and taking hold inside the Dreadnought itself as we go through these spaces.
Cool.
And the Nether itself is a uniquely different type of activity. We're really trying to
Looks like
full baseline. Some inspiration for
map?
this activity was looking at Shattered Realm, the Coil, and of course the Dreadnought's patrol spaces. Of course, we are in the Dreadnought.
Yeah.
And yeah, so just for starters, what we're actually doing inside the Dreadnought is baseline. The patrol zones are randomized and varied. The encounters inside are varied and randomized as well. So time over time, when you launch into the activity, it's going to be a different starting bubble, different encounters, and different events and objectives for you to engage with and accomplish
I
as
don't
you're
mind
exploring the Dreadnought
going back
itself.
to Dreadnought.
Yeah. What kind of like modifiers would you say players are going to go up against in here? Because surely they're not just going to go into the Dreadnought and get a warm welcome necessarily.
Yeah, so the Nether has some
Why
very
not?
unique modifications to it that we're experimenting with. So first off, players do not regenerate health. And to compensate for that, we are doing something special where we're providing players with plus 300 bonus health baseline to their original HP values and plus 75 shield value. So alongside that, we really want to make your health regeneration or your health as like a resource as you're fighting through this, as we are looking at this as a very rogue-lite experience, and we need resources to contend with to make and hit that rogue-lite. Emphasis on light there, of course, because this is still a very uniquely Destiny experience.
Interesting.
And we have a lot of things contributing to that as well. So we do have ammo scarcity as well, so players won't be getting as much ammo, but there will be ways and avenues to get health. And
Even less ammo than before?
As well as
Remove the mods, bro.
Like improve your power over time as you engage with the activity.
Nice.
And that progressive sort of
Bruh,
idea
drops
of
already.
like
So scary
power
sometimes.
and building
with the
up
mods.
how strong you are as you're moving through the Nether, that roguelite experience. It's also reflective of that narrative of like building yourself up, pushing deeper into the Dreadnought. The Dreadnought is resisting you. It's trying to make sure you can't like move towards the Echo and figure out what's going on. And this is you finding ways to like pierce the veil and move beyond their barrier.
New foes and new challenges.
Oh, no, that
obviously,
guy.
more new strategies along the way as well.
Absolutely.
And then you saying
Nazareth's
ammo
finest,
itself is
bro.
kind of like a resource. So it's
At least here
you're
he
not
looks
seeing
like he's
drop
taking
off
a
of enemies
damage.
and stuff like that, but there are things that you can find like a resource and collect.
Finally.
Yeah, so we have destination materials.
Whoa.
We have urns and pods
That's
kind
new.
of placed around everywhere,
I guess
and
that's
also
a new term.
destination chests that players can find. And
what
when
they talked
you
about
break
before.
these destructible pots, they'll explode into like a rain of health, ammo, heavy ammo, sometimes boons, sometimes revive tokens. I forgot to mention we are using revive tokens here as a resource.
Oh, yeah,
as well.
okay, yeah, we
So
can
you
see it
really
in the
need to
corner.
manage, but like there are avenues
Revives.
to get more revive tokens. There is more avenues to get health and ammo. So we really want players to explore the Dreadnought and encourage that exploration by looking for these urns, looking for the chests, and like searching for those boons, because there's multiple avenues and like ways for players to search out and go get them.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I mean that resource scarcity is really going to make you want to chase those down, and I can imagine that health is a sight for sore eyes.
Damn, he's still alive.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's
To
it,
that
stop.
end as well, actually, obviously you mentioned we're back at the Dreadnought, but I can't imagine this exact
Whoa,
same one. Can you
rewards.
tell us a little bit about how the Dreadnought has changed?
Yeah, so since the Echo has hit the Dreadnought, a lot of the spaces have changed and like modified. A lot of the
get more
skin,
wall space?
skin of the Dreadnought ship has like
we get
peeled back,
more
revealing
wall space,
bone
please?
and chitin.
Ran
and
out of space.
Showing off new
I'm in out of
secrets
space
and
for, like,
pathways.
past 2 years.
So you are in familiar spaces if you played the
I
Dreadnought
keep
before,
all like guns.
but there is a lot of
Don't
new,
even-
interesting, unique pathways.
Just like to
things
keep them,
have changed,
just in
things
case.
have
I'm gonna use it.
become abnormally different. Oh,
There goes
Whoa.
the 13.
And that's
Damn.
the last we ever saw of that party.
It was not even me.
As mysteriously as they arrived, they were gone.
And we've kind of like, for players who are wanting that explorative aspect, right? We've kind of like separated out the modes a little bit.
Damn,
So
they wasted like
people
2
can
wife
go in
tokens.
and they can explore the Dreadnought. But people who are like looking to just bust through the activity and get loot, they have a different match-made mode, right?
Absolutely. So the Nether has currently 3 modes. So there's the the Nether, Exploration for those solo type experiences, but they can bring their fire team in as well if they'd like to. And this is more of like that patrol-esque experience that you're looking for. I want to explore at my own like pace. I
Okay, maybe like Balehard.
I want to just engage with the space like it was a patrol space back in the day. It still is the Nether experience of where you're going from. You're playing through the 3 bubbles and there's escalating difficulty, but we do grant to you in that mode a multitude of revives. So you have a way larger pool of revives, so you can make mistakes.
Sure.
It's just for those players who want to like explore at their own whim, play at their own pace. And then additionally, there's also damage modifiers.
Solo player.
When they're engaging with bosses as
solo
a
slayer.
Player, so they can actually tackle those hurdles as they come.
Nice.
And also some modifiers on like how many enemies are spawning, so they don't need to like get swarmed by every single enemy in the world.
You can really take in the skybox for a little while and hang out with your buddies. Yeah.
And then additionally, if you do get lost, because this is, we didn't want to overclutter the spaces with objectives, because there is a lot of things to do, and there's a lot of different things to do in every single bubble and location that you go to.
Oh, they're using
that if you do get lost,
exotic fusion from that.
And there'll be a bunch of star objectives.
Pilot season.
Like, let you know where you should be looking and where you should be going for the next spot. Additionally, talking back to those different modes, we do have the match-made mode on advanced baseline difficulty, and then we do have expert as well.
Very cool. Okay, so plenty of challenges for the Guardians that want to undertake those, make sure they're pushing not only themselves, but the opportunity to get loot as far as they possibly can.
Absolutely. And on that loot note as well, every time you complete a bubble, there is a chest checkpoint, so you do get loot checkpoints essentially. And like the average runtime for like a bubble is 8 to 12 minutes, but you do get the most loot by completing the entire activity as a whole.
Got it.
But there are checkpoints for players who just want to jump in for like 8 to 12 minutes, hit that loot checkpoint, like, okay, I'm out for now, or players who want to just like rush through it and get all the loot at every single end of every single bubble checkpoint.
Very cool. Okay. All right. And then also, I think, in addition to the modifiers we're talking about, the boon system is one that I heard you mention a little bit earlier. I'd love to actually kick off the conversation about that. I think we maybe saw the folks in chat that were eagle-eyed that were keeping an eye on the modifiers may have seen something a little bit earlier before. But can you tell us a little bit about the boon system?
Yeah, so the boons here are, we have a multitude of boons.
Are they weak? They kill so easily.
Major boons, and corrupted boons. So minor boons are minor stat increases that are pretty much just increase your power and incrementally stack. They can stack up to 10, and they're just like the typical like increased light damage, increased darkness damage, movement speed on kills. Some are like based on health and regenerate health.
Hunters welcome movement speed on kills.
Increases, but like things that'll make you stronger over time and allow you to tackle the more difficult bubbles as you approach them.
Yeah.
And then additionally, we have major boons.
Yeah.
And then from there, they're like actually more larger gameplay modifiers that actually affect your abilities and your actions.
Yeah.
And of course now, we do have Eric.
That's right. Yes, actually. So anyone at home that may have noticed, our good friend Nico, please give him a shout out in chat and let him know that you love him.
Yeah.
Has stepped out of the scene for just a moment, and we are now joined by gameplay feature lead Eric Smith. Eric, how's it going, man?
It's going well. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. You guys are all so nice today. I'm so taken aback. For anyone that may not have seen you in the Vidocs or anything like that, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are, what you do here at Bungie as a gameplay feature lead?
Yeah, sure.
Let's hear it.
So I'm Eric Smith, gameplay feature lead on Destiny 2. So I help create the game's abilities, kind of anything the player can do, the game feel of the game, build crafting, kind of general sandbox stuff, and kind of make the controller disappear into your hands while you're playing.
Yeah, the many tools we use, you're helping go ahead and make sure they're all available for us.
For the mouse and keyboard as
well. Right. I'm just sitting there tapping on an empty desk, but that's how my Trials teammates feel. So, we're talking about the boon system. You obviously had a big hand in this as well, rather. Can you tell us a little bit about, what this system is for and maybe about the boons the players are going to have available?
Yeah, so
the
there are
boons.
Boons.
Stop stealing my boons, bro. I can see
the minor boons that you mentioned, and then
I can see it already.
So the major boons,
I can see.
Are more gameplay affecting.
From stealing the kills to stealing the booms, bro.
Like we saw in the Pale Heart with the
no condemnation for you.
Blessings, right? Where you pick
stole my kills. Stole my booms. No condemnation for you.
In the Pale Heart was solar slide, where you run and slide, and a solar wave would go out and blow things up.
Yeah.
In this, we have solar
slide. All right.
We also have stasis slide, where you run and you slide, and a big stasis wave comes out and makes crystals and freezes things.
Yeah.
And you can blow them up yourself. And there's stuff that is going to allow you to heal more effectively. There's looks like this one's interesting. Reduces damage per piece of episodic armor worn.
Oh, cool.
Oh man,
It's
I
quite significant.
don't like that
boost as
stuff.
well.
Like I don't want to wear that armor. It's only
Yeah,
like
so there's
low
a bunch,
stats
and
until
then,
you like grind it.
finally, we have
Most
the
that stuff.
kind of kiss curse boons,
that
as
stuff.
we call them.
I like
they
that.
have an official name. What was that?
The corrupted boons.
Damn, this
Yeah,
guy
you're
like
working on one right now.
one.
So these corrupted boons are offered at the same
34.
time as major boons. As players can only
134,000
obtain 5
silver,
to
bro.
6 major boons /
Damn,
corrupted boons
invested.
per run through. Those are granted to players once
Whoa.
randomly at one of the 3 encounters inside
Whoa.
the bubble, and then again at the end of the bubble once
That's
they
a lot of money.
complete it. And there's some ritual loop stuff too that will allow them to get another one at the start of a bubble or the start of a run through. But these kiss curse
Bubble.
or corrupted boons, as we call them, essentially give you a great bonus or increase to a specific thing at the cost of a major negative. So one, for example, here that I'm really fond of is Glass Cannon, which increases all damage massively,
Yeah.
while also increasing all the damage you take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the dev name, apparently, isn't
It's
it?
like the
Okay, yeah, okay.
That name.
So if you
From
don't find one
software
specifically
game,
named
right?
Glass Cannon,
The ring,
we
increase the
obviously,
damage,
we
take a
hang out in
damage.
our own Word docs and
He's
Excel
really
sheets,
taking
but,
damage
yeah.
like crazy.
That's true. And that one is interesting.
What are
It's
you
an
even
interesting
talking
choice
about?
that you can make since the kind of like the risk to reward ratio, right? Because you have non-regenerating health in here, you really have to come at each encounter with that.
I wonder
kind
what's
of
gonna happen with
mindset
the
of health is
potions
a
in this
resource.
season. Are they just gonna
And
drop
make
them? They're
sure
gonna
that,
say, "Oh,
if I take damage
we done?"
from this enemy or that enemy,
oh,
it has the
they're actually
potential
gonna
to stick
utilize
with
them
me unless
further,
I can
like create the
find it.
shortcuts
And
that you
the
can use
player
them.
team option too, where it's like
Instead of
every
going to
time
your
you're offered those
inventory,
major boons, your teammates can also choose
maybe
different
throw
ones.
some
So it's
time
like, oh,
up,
hey, 2 of us
throw-
are going to do that glass cannon, or
so you can see it.
external.
Yeah,
And
When
then
it's
another
expired,
person's going to do, oh, hey, every time I
instead
do a
of going
finisher,
to
there's a volatile
inventory-
around me and I get my grenade back. So
Maybe
I
I'm
can
not
spam
doing this
more
right.
of those, keep you a bit safer when you
But
get
like
swarmed by things.
shortcut would be nice,
It's also
so
good
I don't
on
have
the
to
health
go to
regeneration aspect.
inventory.
We have the gameplay and sandbox team has
Just
tuned
activate
a
it
lot
with
of
single
the
press.
abilities and weapons that do heal players, so they're not extremely overpowered. So there's been a wide tuning pass on all of this entirely.
Tuning.
So you're gonna see when you're trying to heal up your teammate with one of
Try
our
to heal, they tune.
support auto rifles.
Yeah.
It's gonna take some time, but it does work and it is very efficient and very helpful, especially the abilities. So you're definitely going to want to spec into healing builds.
Man, I have to
Healing
just
builds.
give a
What
shout out to
healing
the team
builds?
on, like, Season of
The
Deep,
nail
we're
the
going deep into
the nail was
the
so
oceans of Titan
the
now.
nerf was so
Feels like we're
bad.
going deep into space, and, like,
Even
the pressure you can feel
even
you
a bomb
down,
drag can
taking
kill you
energy,
there,
like,
bro.
They knocked it out of the park with the vibe here. I'm feeling a little claustrophobic, but also like,
Yeah.
Just getting
you
deep,
feel it.
pulled deeper into the
Oh,
network.
the big boy showed up.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. So, in addition to, there's obviously modifiers you're going to be facing as a Guardian, as a fire team. There'll be boons available to you, but this episode as well is going to bring with it a bevy of new gear. between both armor and
Bevy.
weapons. Now, obviously, for the
Bevy,
Q9 Guardians
bro.
in chat who are watching, there's obviously some seasonal armor, some episodic armor sets that we have here that you can go ahead and check out firsthand. But I think kind of in the spirit of this activity.
Show
that we're
or no
prepping,
show?
Let's talk about some of the weapons, actually. There's
Yeah, let's
one
talk
here
about
on
weapons.
screen, obviously. This is our new support frame, auto rifle. Given that health is such
Ooh,
a
that was
precious,
nice.
precious resource in
I
this
like
activity, Eric,
hype
can you tell us a
style
little bit
weapons.
about this
They're
one?
pretty cool.
Yeah, so this is adamantite.
Damn.
This is our new strand support auto.
Nice.
And it has some really unique features. One of those is that when
features, I like
I heal enemies, so these support autos are
Heal
two of them in the
enemies?
game now. When I
Okay.
hip fire at an ally, it'll send out kind of healing rounds at them, right? And then if I need to
Teaming
you know,
teammates?
shoot an enemy right
Playing
next to
against
them,
us? Hype spike?
that ally, I can just ADS and go full offense, right?
Yeah.
But the healing from this, because you're shooting out strand rounds, if you heal an ally repeatedly, it'll actually cause them to sprout little unravel seekers,
Yeah.
which kind of turns them into this like short-term,
Damn.
strand
Yes.
turret.
Throw your
almost,
friend
right?
as a grenade into the fight. Right?
Yeah,
cover them in
seriously.
Telesto boats, put
Wow,
it up, but now
yeah.
it's like, oh, hey, I'm
Just
healing you and making you.
Let your hunter friend with the Caliban Slayer's handshake.
It's gonna be a sacrifice.
That's why I'm
Kamikaze.
so excited about this activity because, like, we've kind of introduced all
cool.
these kind of healing things, but in a lot of the game, like, I can just hide behind a box and heal, right? And here you can see our health isn't regenerating. So we need to really think about, maybe there is a dedicated.
Oh, maybe
healer
the
on-
navigator.
there's multiple
The
allies,
navigator.
Yeah.
healing
finally it's gonna be a little bit
Honestly,
useful.
That build crafting is kind of transcending now beyond yourself, just to like for activity, for
Yeah,
fire team.
I didn't really use that
So this one's
healing
obviously
after
gonna
rifle
be
from
a ton of fun,
last raid.
but that
It
is
was like
far
once
from
or
the
twice,
only
and I'm like,
weapon that's being
nah.
added around. As far as the episodic weapons, are there any others in particular you want to call out?
There are. I do actually want to talk about this one with one more thing.
Oh,
So
please.
This weapon can roll Slice and Tear, which are two
Nice. I like
perks
those ones.
that,
Oof, I'm
separate.
blocking a.
Yeah.
It's not often
I'm
we
blocking
get
a screen. Let me move myself a
you
little
know,
bit.
primary legendary weapon.
Now
that
I'm on the
can,
right.
Debuff in multiple ways.
Yeah.
Damn.
And that's going to play into things like the artifact this
I like
season,
Slice
which we'll
mode.
talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
a little bit later.
Oh yeah, we'll get there.
So there's Adamantite, which is a really solid weapon. And then let's look at Psychopomp. So Psychopomp is our new area denial grenade launcher.
Such a good name.
I love it. Yeah.
It's just Psychopomp. Yeah. Let's go.
So Psychopomp.
That's like, isn't it like,
so these area
looks like,
denial grenade launchers. The fantasy of these things is like a
like modify that
flamethrower.
Cabal,
We
I
don't
forgot
have
the name of
flamethrowers
it.
in the game. But this is as close as you can get to
like
a flamethrower.
one of the Cabal
I
sound.
imagine I'm using one every time I use this thing.
What's up, that season?
Now.
Excuse me.
This thing has a
Grenade
really cool new
launcher.
perk on it.
It just has like a
that,
hive modification.
keys
I mean, it looks
into
pretty
our
cool.
new arc keyword bolt charge, which we'll also talk about in a bit. And
Arc.
Also, it works with Amplify
like
as
that.
well. So this thing, if you are arc build crafted this season and arc has received a ton of love, this thing is going to absolutely slay out.
Yeah, it's one we'll definitely
Slay.
get to see our fire team put it to good use here. But as someone who's been building area denial grenade launchers into my loadout, I can't wait. Honestly, the second I learned this was on the docket, I was so excited.
The folks that have been working on these weapons too,
Yeah.
like the general look of them, it goes along with what you were saying of, oh, hey, the Dreadnought's kind of peeling back. If you look at the weapon, you can see like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
there's like
The bone.
There's
the
the
weapon.
core. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Actually,
my
Dylan wanted to
gosh.
Also,
guys do that?
the previous
Saw the
one
weapon?
on Adamantite, that one was an adept weapon.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm
So let me pull out my handy dandy notebook.
There we go.
Oh,
Sorry.
here's the meme.
Screen cap.
Yeah. But yeah, you can notice that for this go of our episodic weapons, you can earn adept weapons, and these are we're considering or calling them our heretical arsenal.
Got it.
Adept.
Heresy, heretical.
Yeah.
Like we're going deep into this.
Not
theme.
theoretical, it's heretical. Love it. Yeah.
You can see that it has a new treat or a different treatment to the colors. It's kind of like the hollow foils from Into the Light.
Okay, yeah.
Not so much exactly that of hey, it's an ornament, but like this has the base die and all that, and it looks really good. Shout out to the team. But you can also notice there are multiple perks in each column. There's actually an extra origin trait as well. Shout out Taken King, all that kind of stuff from a raid near you.
That's a nice perk.
But there's a very interesting ways of earning these weapons. So you're going to be going into these activities, upping that difficulty. You're going to be exploring the Dreadnought and looking for these. As well with the
That's cool.
with the episodic weapons, there are going to be new fragile
that we cannot
mods.
craft them.
So they're called fragile because these will be expiring at the close of the episode.
Okay.
But they're going to give you pretty insane bonuses to your outgoing power. So not necessarily the power of the weapon, but the actual like versatility of it.
Yeah.
One of these, I have the
DPS or kick,
power
bro.
of resolve, rapid hits,
DPS or kick.
taken seekers. They're really good against champs.
Yeah.
So that's an example. There are going to be a
Oh.
couple at launch and then more coming
No
with
champs
each
mod,
act.
please.
But
Remove that.
these will be great in
Such a
Nightfall.
waste
They'll be
of
great in
mods. I
higher
hate those.
content.
Champions
I
and
even hate
shambles.
those.
Yeah. And then for when you're going in and earning these weapons, there was a ton of feedback, and we absolutely heard you. We're listening about the tonic system. So there are things with like the user experience was a bit rough of having to go back in, create more tonics, trigger them in the middle of activities because they were running out. The team really took that to heart. They want to make sure that there's agency in how you're earning these weapons. So they're going to be making it through the Tome of Want. You can kind of target these weapons. You don't need to go in and do this a ton of times. You can say, hey, I want to go for this auto rifle. I want to go for this grenade launcher, linear fusion rifle, and I really want to be going for that to try to get these heretical versions.
Yeah.
So effectively, like, I don't want to say more loot because it's not going to be like, oh, hey, you're getting 10 times more.
Yeah.
But it's going to feel like, oh, hey, I have a goal of getting this loot, and now I'm going to go and play the game and get what I'm looking for.
Definitely. No,
Nice.
Super exciting, honestly. Just having those more opportunities
That's
to
good
just,
that they're
you know,
gonna
break
fix
your loadouts
that.
out a little bit, find new ways to go ahead and really excel, especially given the challenges we're going to be going up against on the Dreadnought.
And with the
a lot,
fragile mods, like it's baking into that exploration. Like you were saying, how do you find them again?
Yeah, so they can be found through secrets and chests found in the Nether. They're spread out. They're hidden pretty well, but I imagine folks will find them over time or through some
YouTube
videos.
video, 2 minutes, right? How to find everything.
We're going to wait for
As soon as it
we won't
releases.
miss it this time.
30 minutes
Fallout,
later.
Obviously, if you could make some guides for us, we'd greatly appreciate it. So,
Iswerg.
30 minutes later, guides everywhere.
Yes. Yeah. One of the best communities out there.
Let's see. Anything else? Yeah, I mean, the last keyword I want to throw on there is aspirational. Yeah. Ultimately, we want to have tools that players want to go and find, want to earn, and increase their power.
Yeah. So we've got a couple more weapons I definitely want to talk about because we're reprising some as well. But while we have a brief reprieve from combat, I'd love to actually go ahead. I know you mentioned earlier aspects, Eric.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and take a look really quickly.
New aspects coming.
Neighborhood Warlock here up first. Cool. Can you tell us about the new aspects the Guardians are going to have this time around?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about that.
The Warlock has a new aspect called Ionic Sentry. And Ionic Sentry, when you defeat targets with kinetic or arc weapons or arc abilities, you kind of charge this thing that you see in low gauge on your screen, much like Gunpowder Gamble, if you're familiar with that.
Absolutely.
When that's full, it
we're familiar.
grants you a
that
bonus grenade.
I love it.
That you can then throw
Bam!
out. On impact, it blinds anything nearby and then spawns this like little arc turret, right? That zaps things, chains to different things.
Yeah.
And every time it zaps something, it accumulates a stack of bolt charge.
Yeah.
So bolt charge is our new arc keyword. And what this does is when you have a stack of bolt charge, any damage you do is going to give you additional stacks.
Okay.
Once you hit 10 stacks, your next ability damage is going to create this giant lightning bolt that comes out of nowhere, and hits the ground, and just like fries everything nearby, right? What Ionic Sentry can do is not only generate the stacks, but because it is ability damage in itself, it can expend the stacks.
Yeah.
So you send this thing out, and it is doing work.
You're throwing a meat grinder at them, basically. An arc-flavored meat grinder. At anyone foolish enough to cross it.
That's
but also,
nice.
I mean, given that's going to be using the new keyword as well, like it's not just going to be for mobs of trash. It's like you can throw this down against the big bosses and obviously have it blind them and do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, this is great against bosses because any healthy targets, it's going to be continually zapping them, granting you those stacks, and then discharging the stacks as well.
Yeah. All right.
It's like an offensive version of the Stasis Warlock turret too. So it's like, let's say you stack them and you're going into onslaught, so you have your freeze. It's like, I need these enemies to leave me alone. But then you come in and you're like, it's time we're going to boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew, man. They're gone.
Sure, but it also, if you are in trouble, kind of like the Stasis
let's
hit the pause button. The blinding aspect of this, I can just kind of throw it out and smoke bomb and hide, right, if I need to. Yeah.
All right, so Warlocks obviously have a brand new tool to add to their toolbox, but the other classes do as well. Which one should we show them next?
Let's stick with the arc thing. So let's go to Titan. So
Titan,
we have Storm's Keep. In this is like a barricade modification. So any barricade you drop, it's going to kind of be electrified. And standing behind this electrified is going to passively accumulate bolt charge on you.
Yeah.
So I drop this on the ground.
Nice.
I start shooting enemies from behind my barricade. Let's say it's a rally barricade, or like we just reworked Titan's Ramparts, the barricade you can shoot through.
Oh, yeah.
That is going to be kind of building those stacks up and discharging them as I'm firing my weapon.
Okay.
Like I said, bolt charge is usually only ability damage that discharges it.
Yeah.
But as long as I'm standing behind Storm's Keep, my weapon damage is going to discharge it as well. So it kind of turns any weapon you want into like a quasi Thunderlord.
Not necessarily an arc weapon then in this case.
Correct.
Exciting. Okay.
Yeah. So this one this one's spicy. I think we're going to see this in a lot of damage phases, and
spicy.
We can play this all we want.
I don't know what this means.
A lot of
Nerf after the week.
Right?
Disable.
In dev, and then
remove it from
drop
activity
into the world
for 1
and,
month.
We'll see how we.
Too much DPS.
Maybe it's up. Maybe
Bosses
it's
die
down.
too fast.
But we want it to be
PvP.
powerful, and I think it is powerful.
There's a lot of players saw this preview in the TWID. I think it was last week, and they immediately noticed the animation for the Titan was changed, right? So when you went down to put down the barricade, it was like this big thunderclap, like, hey, I'm going to charge everybody up, right?
Whoa.
Yeah, and the animation went through a lot of different kind of versions. We put so much love into all of these abilities because, it's in the game forever. And we want it to be right. So,
it should be able to cast barricade
slams and
through the actions.
And, we ended up with the thunderclap, and our
bows,
animators
through
are
slides, through jumps.
Absolutely incredible at their jobs.
Yeah.
Right?
So
That'd
but
be
then
cool.
it's animation. It's like the VFX artists have to time everything to the animation, and then the sound design people have to time it to that, and then the test has to make sure we're not breaking anything. And it's like we so much work goes into even one aspect like this, and we're really excited.
It's a lot of work. That's for
put
sure.
in players' hands.
Yeah, it's a coalescence of art and science that you guys do that consistently blows my mind. But now we've got obviously one more for our friendly neighborhood hunters like myself.
Hunters.
Best for last.
This one will be able to get you out of sticky situations as well. So,
Sticky.
yeah.
So our
Trials.
already has for arc aspects, but they needed one in their voice.
Oh, nice.
So we gave Night Stalker on the prowl, and shout out to the boy Danny Nanny, who is the designer for this one.
Yeah.
So on the prowl, you kind of become a hit person, right?
Yeah.
And you
That's nice.
whenever you go invisible,
Looks
you get a
pretty cool.
contract to kill something in the area.
Yeah.
And that thing is marked, and a little, our target shows up
like
on
that
there for
best.
you and your allies.
It's pretty cool.
If you
Dies.
successfully complete that contract and whack that jabroni, right?
Whack that Jaroni.
Sorry, Jabroni.
No, excellent use of jabroni. Yeah.
So
GPS the Jerome, bro.
And then what happens is my entire team gets some energy, right? And this is kind of a callback to Heart of
Energy.
the Pack from the old Night Stalker. It originally was actually a callback where we gave you stats, but then because we're working the stats coming
We
up,
always work in the stats, right?
We decided to just give you ability energy, right? Yeah. So ability energy, and then the victim, if successfully executed, explodes into a cloud of smoke, which I can then enter to become invisible again, thereby marking a new target. So I can kind of chain these like assassinations as I move throughout.
Assassinations.
And my entire team can take.
Slow down, bro.
Oh, nice. So you can bring your friend team through the same cloud of smoke.
Same
Everyone
cloud of
goes
smoke. Everyone goes invisible.
We're getting this before we get an Assassin's
you're
Creed,
kind of
so
sneaking, it's on the prowl. We're prowling through the activity.
You can already see like one of the exotic pairings on the screen too. Those creepy eyes freak me out every time. But Omnioculus, like that's going to benefit the smoke and all that kind of stuff. You could pair with Lorentz Driver. Sorry, Ritz on social media asking for some gameplay today, but we have too much to go through. Yeah. But it's like you're embodying that I'm a bounty hunter fantasy. So your gun can be giving you bounties through Lorentz Driver. You're getting bounties through this. There's going to be a lot of
Lorenzo Driver.
Yeah. So you
It's
had
getting
Guizen,
upgrade,
right?
Yeah, Guizen. I always call it Guizen, but Guizen Vest
used to be PvP.
Gotta rework. So when you exit invisibility, it emits
PvP Lorenzo, bro. You see Lorenzo, you switch to
energy
that.
perks as well. So
nice.
There's going to be a lot of strong pairings, and then with the artifacts,
other
void features in the artifacts.
the same.
You know what? Honestly, you just gave me the best segue I could possibly imagine. We have looked. Obviously, we've begun to scratch the surface of some of the new build crafting opportunities
They
y'all are
should
going
keep
to have.
like
But obviously, we got a new artifact.
sort of matchmaking where there's no nerfs or anything, so you can just go in and do crazy stuff.
Just as a starting point, can you let us know the general theme of this one?
That'd be fun.
So the
Stat
theme
room
of
that we
this
can do.
episode's artifact is kind of subjugation and
Oh my God, champion
bending
mods.
enemies to your will. Essentially, as we are going back into the Dreadnought, it was unlikely that the Dread or the Hive were going to come peacefully, so we got to bring the big guns to force their hand.
Absolutely.
Essentially.
Yeah, it's not about us.
DPS or
waiting for them
kick, bro.
losing.
DPS or kick.
Yeah.
So the Tower
DPS
Ruin
or kick,
is there
bro.
to ruin the
Not
deck,
sweating.
So I'll call out some highlights of mine from here. If we look at column 5, because column 5,
Column 5's a strong one.
That's where
we got to go
heavy
right to the chase.
we have Void. Which one is it? It's called Void Flux. That's it. Void Flux. So defeating weakened targets with a Void weapon applies volatile to nearby targets, and then you pair that with the column 4 Maligned Harvest, and rapidly applying volatile causes your next instance of Void weapon damage to weaken, which then feeds back into the other one. And it's like if you can get this engine going, in a crowded room, it's nasty.
Me and my fellow Fighting Lion addicts are going to have a really good time. That's one I can already tell. The Fighting
Guess we're
Lion
going back to
subreddit,
the Void
I wanna see
builds.
some clips.
And then I also want to call out Horde Shuttle in here.
Please.
So Horde Shuttle, damaging unraveled targets with a weapon, occasionally spawns a Threadling. This is really good for your Strand builds.
Strand and Void.
Especially against high health targets. Because I unravel them, they stay unraveled. I keep shooting them, they're just popping Threadlings out, left and right. And then, because we talked about Arc, Flashover in column 4, when you gain a maximum stat or bolt
Arc
charge,
as well. Wow.
you also become amplified. Amplified is getting a big kind of buff this this episode as well, to its survivability. So really, Arc in general it's hot.
It's
going to be hot.
Yeah, it's gonna be some spicy Arc builds this time around.
Spicy, hot,
baby.
man. All right. That's cool.
Yeah, that's end too. Dylan, can you walk us through some of the stuff in the first column as well? We're gonna have some new champion mods to take out.
Yeah, so I mean, like, there's all these really ability-focused items, which is great because there are a bunch of anti-champion keywords in there as well.
Yeah.
But let's say, like, hey, we're
remove
we're
that.
doing a Nightfall.
No one's gonna miss
you
it.
can see
You guys
actually
remove
there's
that. No one's
anti-barrier
gonna
side
miss
on
it.
for
No
the
one's
first
gonna
time
care.
in years. Like, I think that was around for one of the first Grandmaster rotations, and it was like, what sidearm?
Right. Does not call.
Now we have rocket sidearms. We have Forerunner, so you can be like popping the shields, throwing the grenades, that kind of stuff. Anti-barrier sniper, that was a favorite from the past. We just did a big rework on glaives.
It was not
the team did a crack job on there, so unstoppable there. And then up at the top, you can see machine guns, and then linear fusion rifles and fusion rifles are getting the unstoppable. And then in 5th column, you'll see a perk that players may enjoy.
It's back. I'm so excited. I mean, I just got my hands on the
champion
mods
mods.
finally. Thank you, Malachi. After all this time, honestly, so I have a
Can
hunch
remove that whole column. Nobody's gonna miss
well.
it. No one's gonna miss it.
Okay, don't let me.
What about you?
I don't know if I have a Vex.
I didn't even get it.
It's making like unlockable for any type of weapon.
Like a decade of waiting, right?
Give it
I think there's a reason to go back into Vault of Glass, and maybe we can help him get his.
I'm down. I play.
I don't like it.
It's crazy. Like
This is forcing you to put like certain type of guns, especially if you cannot like you do Grandmaster, right?
Oh, you're the guy.
You cannot switch. You have this gun and there's no ammo in there because drops can be very a little sometimes. It's like, dude,
So go
why?
back to Vault, you were saying.
Vault of Glass. So
Why,
there are a
you
bunch
know?
of folks where, they want crafting back. They want to do something where they have an end goal. And Vault of Glass is a
we wanna do
great
crafting.
opportunity for us to say, hey,
You want to do crafting?
you've been
that's
going
right.
through Heresy content. You want to do some raids. You want to do something else. Like, we're adding weapons to Strikes, Gambit, Crucible. We have a bunch of new weapons and Trials, a new armor set and Trials that you've seen in some of these previews.
Yeah.
But Vault of Glass is getting crafting.
Yes.
Chat goes wild.
Yeah.
You can go get that Fatebringer, get it a couple times as a deep sight, craft it, and then you can make that roll that you've always wanted.
Yep. Yeah.
As you're going through Vault, let's say you want to go through and craft like 5 of the weapons that are available, then you can hop into Master with all your spoils, be going for those Adept versions, and those have a chance to drop with multiple or more perks in those columns. We've been doing this for the last few raids with craftable weapons, but now it's like, hey, I want my He's Vengeance. There's a new intrinsic perk. What's the origin trait?
Yes.
And then, let's say I'm trying to go for a combination. I could get 3 on this, and then I can enhance it, make it this crazy rocket launcher that's good, and go into endgame and do some really cool stuff.
Yep. Yeah. So we've obviously we've got another weapons. I know I mentioned some reprised ones, but actually, as long as we're hanging out here in the menus, Eric, I'd actually love to put you on the spot again and talk about just some of the exotics that players are going to be able to go ahead and acquire this episode as well. Let's start wherever you'd like to. Which one would you like to kick it off with?
Let's look at Barrow Dyad.
Barrow Dyad. I was hoping you'd say that.
Barrow Dyad.
So Barrow Dyad
Dang.
Is that a gun?
Is that a gun?
Is that actually a gun?
It's
pretty cool.
It's
I
a
like
hybrid gun for his sort of.
Our team does not mess around.
It's a machine
man.
gun.
That's so cool.
Whoa.
So this thing is a Strand submachine gun, and it is also a monster in combat. So this thing, as I deal damage with it, it generates this resource called Blight. And next time I reload, whether it's manual or I just run out of my mag, it's going to convert that Blight into these Strand Seekers that next time I pull the trigger, it's going to fire those out, and they're going to bounce between enemies.
Here we go. Yep. So we got some gameplay of this right now.
Yeah.
Actually.
Damn.
So, but you
that's
can
nice.
also see it.
Just juking everything.
The
Yeah,
grin
it's
is
a
pain,
bird, right?
Obviously.
Tonight is snow.
You can also see that this thing auto reloads over time. So this thing, rumor is
Nice.
it's partially sentient.
I like how it looks.
Yeah.
It has its
I don't know
own
how it plays,
wants and
It
needs.
It
wants
looks
to
pretty
kill.
cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
and if you satisfy it, it's going to reward you.
Yeah.
So look how fast that ammo comes back. So what you can actually do is play this mini game where you are trying to shoot enemies to build up that Blight, and then you can pace yourself to auto reload to build up more Blight, and then manually reload to like load all those like Seekers into your mag. In addition, it has this perk where dealing damage to 3 different enemies generates, in a short period of time, generates a large amount of blight.
Very nice. Okay, so equal opportunities to go ahead and clear out
Equal
crowds,
opportunities.
but also to just burn down the big bad that might be standing in front of you, or whichever one's foolish enough to do
Looks
so.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So there are going to be player questions immediately of like, when you're talking about blight and those sorts of keywords, is this a weapon of sorrow?
That's a great question. It is not a weapon of sorrow, but you know, I heard another rumor that this thing is a kind of fossilized precursor to a weapon of sorrow.
Interesting.
But I can't, you know, confirm.
Redacted.
This,
Redacted,
one of our top
yeah.
3 favorite words, redacted. Okay, so this is the one, and we won't spoil how, but players will be earning this one this season. It'll have, you know, catalysts and other intrinsics to earn as well, I assume.
This thing has a lot of surprises. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's
where-
probably
yeah.
transformed
Let's
in
just leave
some
it. I
way.
like that. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So obviously the Barodyad
Yeah, we
will
don't
be
wanna talk
one that
about
will
it,
be
yeah.
getting added to a lot of loadouts across the entire Soul system. But that's not
The
the only
Big
one we're
Papa
gonna be taking a look
Bomba.
at today.
No,
Yeah,
no
let's
bueno.
also look at our new exotic trace rifle Lodestar. So this one will be given to players via the season pass.
Nice.
This is the first primary ammo trace rifle ever.
So cool.
Whoa.
And
So excited.
Interesting.
so in hipfire, this thing behaves
Primary
like a,
trace.
you know, the trace rifle you know and love.
I was wearing Warlock
But
helmet.
When you ADS with it, it's closer to
shoe?
a pulse rifle. Actually.
Okay.
When you ADS, you know, the standard pulse
Boost
rifle
the
has
trace
kind of cadence
rifles,
where
right?
it's prap, prap, prap. There's like
Pra,
these,
pra, pra.
kind of spaces.
I'm
in between
100%
the rounds.
wearing a helmet
But this thing
with
is
this
more
rifle. 100%.
steady, you know, EDM,
Here we go.
BPM.
Yeah. So players are seeing it now. Yeah.
Yeah, we're womp, womp, womp,
Womp,
womp,
womp,
womp,
womp.
you know, and it's like
Womp,
it's
womp,
nonstop until
womp.
you run out of ammo, right?
So we got
Yeah.
burst.
I'll write it down.
sidearms,
I'll make sure I'll
burst
do that.
hand
Wop,
cannons,
wop.
your pulse rifles, and now we got a burst trace rifle. I love this kind of
Nice.
stuff, man. Yep.
Yeah, so outside of this unique firing behavior, as I deal damage with it, you can see down in the bottom left corner we have arc alignment. And what that's doing is charging the coils of the weapon. Once it's fully charged, if I press and hold to auto reload, or sorry, special reload.
Oh, right.
As I hip fire, I jolt anything I hit.
Yeah.
So the jolt is a debuff, right? So you can kind of
Nice.
charge this thing up, auto reload to go into the other fire mode, and then kind of sweep the beam across a bunch of enemies,
Yeah.
jolt them all, and then
Paintbrush of death. This thing. Yeah.
and then the final perk this thing has is when ADS, any time you defeat a arc debuffed enemy, they explode into a blinding explosion. So it's this loop where I can charge it up, I jolt enemies,
Yeah.
I defeat the jolted enemies with the ADS shot, which explodes and damages more enemies, which charges it up. And
Yeah.
it's
The loop continues.
Yeah,
Honestly. Yeah.
This thing has, I think, a really high skill ceiling.
And this is just this one weapons loop. There's obviously all the different artifact mods. There's all the new aspects. There's the new gear we're going to have available to us through the Dreadnought. Theory crafters.
Oh, no more
the
revives,
previous
that's why
spreadsheets,
they
the game
died.
has begun.
You can. There's some big brain combos you can pull off.
Yeah, and I will be counting on stealing all of them. All right, so we also, really quickly before we
Nice.
move on, we have some new armor as well with Trials. Dylan, can you briefly tell us a little bit as well about the new
Trials.
updates to Trials and the new armor?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So I mean, we'll
Cheaters.
still have the Heresy gameplay on here, but as I was saying, like,
So let
once
hear
you're
about
kind of like,
Trials.
oh hey, I've been playing that for a bit. I want to go play my core rituals like Nightfalls, Crucible, that kind of stuff. If I want the endgame PvP experience, Trials is getting kind of a rework. It's mostly focused around the Lighthouse experience. So the main goal, big shout out to Mercules on the team that's been working on this for a while, and then Test and everybody too. But what is a Trials experience when it's not flawless or bust?
Right.
What is something where, as a lesser skilled player, somebody that just wants to go in and play some like elimination, get in, get some rewards, and then also visit the Lighthouse and see our friend Saint? So ultimately, it's framed more around streaks. So you don't need that flawless 7 games in a row ticket to go up to the Lighthouse. Now it's more, oh, hey, I won 2 games in a row, lost a couple, but ultimately got 7 over time. Now I can go to the Lighthouse, open that chest, and then get some cool rewards.
Yeah.
So we had a big, an emphasis on big article go out about Crucible. There's some comp changes, there's a bunch of matchmaking stuff, but also Trials is our main game.
Trials.
Our main focus for that. And you can see the armor that you get on there. you'll be getting these pieces like once a week or a
Yeah.
couple times a week through challenges or opening the chest.
Nice.
But we're going to that kind of Osirian, that Egyptian theme again, and these text shaders great.
Yeah.
It's one of those pieces where,
Nice.
okay, I'm going to be spending a couple weeks in here to fizzle. Oh my gosh, don't carry me, teach me.
Yeah.
But yeah, even
Just
if
don't
you're-
go up against me while you're out there if you could do me a
I get
solid.
those messages.
Even if you're
Kitty
not
in
high skill,
trials,
it's like you can have these armor
$5,
pieces.
$10,
Cosmetic
guaranteed
like,
drop.
okay, as a high skill player, I still want
Guaranteed
that
exile.
representation of what flawless used to in capture.
Out.
So if you hit
Out.
a 5, a 6, a 7 win streak and
How
go
like
open that
Bungie
chest,
message
you're
system
unlocking
even
different
allows that.
glows. You're getting different cosmetics.
There's like
ships,
links and
ghosts,
it's like
sparrow.
so easy to scan.
Right,
and
that's right.
Lock it
And then
automatically. You
afterwards,
don't
how long of a streak can you go on? We're going to have a new emblem tracker where it's like, oh man, I went on a 25 win streak in trials.
It's hard to believe somebody
I'm
actually
kinda
like
high
buys
right
that
now.
stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, someone
Andy
buys it,
never-
right? Otherwise,
Yeah,
they wouldn't
Andy's
sell
saying,
it.
hey Dylan, you
There's
want
no
to play
business,
a
there's no
Discord? And
product,
I'm like,
right?
sorry, I'm a bit too busy.
It's all right. We get it. You're a big deal. But
I'm not a
no,
big
thank
deal.
you. Honestly, in the interest of being busy, thank you and yours. Obviously, putting together that article. If anyone wants to see all of that in painstaking detail, it took a village. So Dylan, to you and the PvP Strike team and everyone, thank you a ton for getting all that information together. I know we have one more topic to move on to, but I'm realizing in my notes I didn't quite get to speak to the reprised weapons. Let's call out a couple before we move on.
Reprised weapon.
There's one in particular I'm actually pretty excited about. It's the return of probably one of my favorite pulse rifles. I've been watching a lot of TikTok. Our friend Epic Defender out there is running Fighting Lion and, pardon me, Cold Denial. So I've gone ahead and personally dusted off my Cold Denial, which is now also making a return. So if you don't still have it from Season of Arrivals,
I have that.
now's your chance. Dylan, we were talking about
I
this a
did
little bit
enjoy
earlier.
that
What's
one.
your favorite role for this one?
Well, so back in the day, I always made sure to have Head Seeker, and it was kind of a niche perk back then. It was
Yeah.
like, oh, hey, it helps with one-on-ones a bit.
Right.
But it has been buffed over time. It's been a while since Season of Arrivals, so
Yeah.
I'm going to be going for Head Seeker again on this baby.
Yeah.
And like, one of the cool things is that all of the reprisals are going to be dropping day 1 of Act 1.
Cool.
So you can go and get this. There were a few others that were mentioned, or I believe you're about to mention.
Another one. Yes, that's right. We can honestly, I can talk about. Or wait, my favorite role or the next weapon?
I don't care about your favorite role.
Okay.
No,
fair
no,
enough.
no,
You know
go,
what?
go,
No,
go.
no, that's fine. You know what? Message received. I'll leave that for my
What is your
inventory
favorite
alone.
role? Because we debated this.
Well, there's
Come on.
What
all
is
right,
it?
It's very close. It's Zen Moment Head Seeker. But
Okay. No, that's good.
It's
That's
just a two-burst machine. But another one I want to call out, one that's so well beloved by the community that a member, a content creator in our community named themselves after it, Whispering Slab Enjoyer. Whispering Slab is now also getting reprised as well. So there's going to be a lot of
Whispering
opportunities for you to go
Slab.
ahead and add this one back into your inventory. Is there going to be any new roles added for this one as well, Dylan? Anything
Oh,
exciting?
yeah. I mean, all of the weapon rolls, they're going to be a bit revamped.
Mix.
There will be some heavy hitters from the past, but also new perks have been introduced over time.
Yeah.
I mean, for the seasonal weapons, too, I believe it was.
I have it. I don't
Morgan
think I ever
Dickens,
used that.
Like, working with her to see what are all the different roles, what can we call it on the stream.
Yeah.
She put a lot of love into those. Big shout out to the rest of the team as well. Like, I wish I could name every single person, but
Yeah.
as you said, it takes a village, it takes a city to build a game.
Absolutely.
So big love for everybody.
Yeah,
there.
we're just the ones sitting up here today. There's obviously a ton of incredible peers of ours here at Bungie that are behind the scenes building all of this every single day. So to our teammates and compatriots at Bungie, we couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much.
Are there any weapons you're looking forward to?
Oh yeah, let's really quickly check.
Oh, I'm looking forward to all the new Dreadnought weapons.
Yeah.
They look so gorgeous, especially the new support frame. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be rocking that through
Yeah.
my run throughs of Nether. Just like watching
No, let's be cool.
our playtesters like run through the final bubble there. They were struggling and they need some healing.
Yeah.
So I'll be rocking that, healing my teammates.
You're a better man than I am.
Yeah.
But we already knew that, obviously. Eric, any one last one that you want to call out
I
before we
mean,
move on?
that Whispering Slab is just so sexy, man.
Isn't it?
Like,
Honestly,
just
what a
like
distinctive
Sexy.
bow. Like, how do you
it
not
is.
love
It's just like a
Yeah.
big flat thing with a string. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
You know it means pain when you see it, honestly.
true.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
You
don't
shoot
know about
arrows
those
from it, You
bows.
just take it and hit people with it.
Dealer's choice. Obviously. Depends whether or not you're a
Yeah,
team.
that'd be nice if you could
All
actually
right,
do
so,
that.
we
the
obviously
reloading.
have talked through a lot of stuff today, but there is
Throw that
plenty
thing
more for you to go ahead
like
and
a
dive into
boomerang.
when Heresy launches next week on
Have it come
February 4th.
back.
But before we go ahead and obviously conclude the show, we've got a couple more announcements to talk through, including
more
our
announcements.
next dungeon race. Dylan, this is something you and your compatriots on the community team have told us all about.
Dungeon
in
race.
past vlogs and stuff, but a quick recap for anyone out there. Can you tell us a little bit about the Sunder Doctrine race?
Yeah, so Sunder Doctrine, that's going to be launching on February 7th at Reset.
Okay.
I
we're
need
gonna
a
do
weapon.
The contest mode as well. Some people call it a race to the top.
Yeah.
So with our last
the top.
dungeon, we had a podium finish where it was the first 3 fire teams are winners. for second, third. This time we're going back to that format of a singular fire team will be crowned. They will be that first to cross the finish line. The really cool thing about this as well is we're kind of mixing up what is the stake, what is the reward.
Yeah.
Last dungeon we did a really cool hoodie with some personalization. This time around we're doing a trophy. It's going to be nice little trophy. It's not a kit or not as big as say the raid title belts that you get, but it's
silver would be
very
better.
Special, customized, like unique to this experience.
Yeah.
No offense.
Big shout out to Joe, to the raid and dungeon team, and then also
I think
let's see here.
silver
Sorry,
probably
Scrap.
maybe
We're
would
gonna
be better.
partnering with them to create this trophy, and we'll have
Or
a picture
some
of it in a twid
special
next week, or maybe even later
ornaments.
this week.
Yeah.
But
Something that you
it's gonna
can
be something
actually
that
show in the
represents this
game
dungeon, and it's going to be pretty fun.
that you
That's
play
really
so
cool.
much.
And also our friends on the Good Super Products team
my
have been
opinion.
hard at work making
I
sure
mean,
that all of us that
still
dive
cool,
in,
right? The choice,
I've
but I
never
think
done a contest mode in my life. I'm not
like
brave
the other
enough.
stuff.
There's
cool.
some stuff to go ahead for the Guardians to go ahead and earn as well. Dylan, can you tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here too?
Sure. Yeah. So on the screen, this is going to be earnable just by playing through. We have a new. I love this note sheet, man. Work shirt. So
Work shirt.
It has a hood, but it's not the hoodies of old. This is going to be a new thing.
Work
shirt that you can earn.
Well, like a
wristband
grind
was
short.
a pretty big
Grind
goal
short for
players
that
that enjoyed
weapon.
Earning that last
Yeah,
go, so
definitely.
we have that
For that
again.
exotic
And then we
drop in
also have our
dungeon that
Bungie
you
rewards,
complete
the
like
title pins.
15
So go in,
times.
do all of the challenges, the triumphs.
No drop.
I believe solo as well, which I applaud everybody that does solo dungeons because it's just insane to me.
Yeah.
But you can earn these this pin to represent how
Dude, add on
hardcore you are.
some dungeons many
and then we
times
have
to
just
get
general pins and rewards that you can
exotic.
get as well.
Very cool.
So
maybe if
and
I
those
wear
guys
this,
can go ahead and get
maybe
their
if
hands
I
on
wear
as well.
this,
True.
you'll
And
drop.
These are outside of like contest mode. So
Finally.
contest mode, you get that unique emblem in game.
I don't even care about using
Normal
those
mode,
weapons. I
there'll
just
be an
want to have
emblem,
them.
There'll be those rewards,
I'm
weapons,
gonna lock
etc.
them.
Certainly.
But then some things out of game as well. So
Awesome.
to
Not a
get
bad idea.
into
When you
the,
buy something from the store, you
contest
get
mode,
like extra boost rate
1995 is the
for
recommended
exotic drops,
score.
bro.
Okay.
Outside of that, it's like if contest isn't your
Ding
thing,
ding.
once that fire team
Business
finishes
idea.
first, then we open up normal mode afterwards. So.
Cool. But either way, contests will be available for the
Normal
first 48
mode.
hours.
First 48 hours
Cool.
too.
Awesome.
And then
First
if you
48
want
hours,
to
contest.
join in with the community and have a watching experience, we have the Dungeon Zone hosted by CB Gray and Evan F.
It's okay.
Yeah, big thank you to them because this is going to be a community-driven kind of like, hey, they're tracking a ton of teams that are vying for that first place.
Yeah.
They're going to be hopping through that. They'll have some pre-show stuff that's really fun to watch. We'll also have Twitch drops. We'll have unique emblems to earn through
Twitch
that.
drops.
So yeah, tons of folks to watch, and then tons of gameplay to jump into on the 7th.
That rules. I can't wait. Excellent. Well, everyone as well, if they need to find this was in a previous TWID as well?
Yeah, so we have a previous TWID. We're going to have another TWID just before the 7th to walk through this again. And then we also have like the terms and conditions for the dungeon race and all that. That's on help.bungie.net. So.
Excellent. Very cool. All right. Excited. Can't wait to tune in. CB Gray.
I guess gonna
Can't wait
attempt
to go ahead and see what you got.
Dungeon
for us.
Grace.
But now we have one
mind.
more item to
Just
speak
for the
about.
guaranteed
As
drop
become
on exotic.
tradition in these streams, we've got
Just
one more thing to go
one
ahead
more
and
thing.
show you. Now it's time to take a first look at the newest collaboration that's going to be coming to Destiny 2, and this one is joining us from a galaxy far, far away. Chad,
New collaboration.
I'm sure you're going to start going nuts soon, but that's right.
Star
our next
Wars.
collaboration
You guys
is
know what
inspired
it
by a
means.
universe that's loved by so many of us here at the studio.
$30?
Star Wars.
$30 per
Today,
set?
we're going to be taking a look at the new
30?
Star Wars-inspired
40?
armor sets that are going to be joining Destiny.
$30.
And I say there's no time quite like the present. First up, we've got the Covert Ranger set for Hunters. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at that one.
Wow, those looks good.
This one is inspired by none other than the Elite Death Troopers. Oh my God, I can't wait.
Such a beautiful cape.
Seriously.
Hunters are never going to need to use
Yeah.
Super Black again. Are you kidding me?
Don't tempt us, we'll find out.
I get it too, guys.
Yes, this one, and as are the other ones that you're going to see,
only
are
gonna be
obviously all going to be
$20.
arriving on day one of Heresy. Up next, Warlocks. Worry not, we've got you covered as well. We've got the
Nice.
Royal Protector
Yep.
set.
This
for
not
you
gonna be
guys, and this
$20
time
sets,
It's
guys.
inspired by the Imperial
It's gonna be
Royal
$30
Guards.
at least.
If you've ever found yourself in a throne room in the Star Wars universe, you've probably been intimidated by these guys. That's your chance to go ahead and do the same intimidation when you load into
Yeah.
trials or anything
I doubt
like
it.
that.
It's gonna be
This one is obscenely cool.
$20.
And then last, but very not least, we've got the Shock Enforcer set for Titans. This one's
Damn.
inspired by the classic Stormtroopers.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, and this one actually I heard comes with an intrinsic perk that tanks your accuracy.
That's so. It's all right. They're Titans. They're just going to go ahead and punch you anyway, honestly. We'll check on that intrinsic perk. But yes, this one, obviously.
Why is it always
for the
good, like,
classic Stormtroopers
Titan
out there, the fans of those,
armor
Titans, you
roll?
were going to go ahead and be set and ready
Oh,
to go
never
ahead
mind.
and
It's
don
it's a
this.
female.
Now, obviously, there's going to be some stuff that will transcend
It's a
across
female
all of the different
stormtrooper. I thought it was a
classes,
guy.
including a new ghost shell that we'd love to go ahead and show you as well.
I thought it was a guy.
We now have.
So like one.
Take a look here.
No. Oh, that's.
This is the DS2 ghost shell, as you can tell, operational, but it's inspired by none other than the return of the Jedi Death Star. So it's been a work in progress, but well,
So good.
I play music. It'd be cool if they had like music effects to the ghosts
myself,
that you can also change. So when somebody's on a ghost, you pass by and you can hear the music.
Super exciting. Now, there's also more as a
few
part of this
tones,
collaboration for you
repeat
to explore. So worry not. There's also a sparrow, a ship, emotes, and a finisher, all for you to check out when Heresy launches.
All for low to
but
299, bro.
If we didn't take a chance for starters,
299?
to give huge thanks to our
I
friends
didn't hear the
here at
price.
Bungie
What's
that
the
helped us
price?
Together, Kelly out on the marketing team, and
$2.99.
our friends over at Lucasfilm Games. It's been incredible to go ahead and work with you side by side to put this together. And
$2.99
of course,
for
to make sure
everything.
you're all in the know, and we give you a heads up of exactly where this is going to be. It will not be at Tashi Station with the power converters. These will be available on Eververse when Heresy launches on day one. So just want to make sure you're all aware of that. And also, I got to say, I, for one, am going to be keeping a close eye on the R Destiny fashion subreddit because I can't wait to see what they got for us after this.
I mean, they're going to have this. They're going to have new Trials armor, new seasonal or episodic armor.
Yeah.
They're going to have tons of new Eververse options, but tons of new options you earn in the game. Put it all together, make something dope.
Yeah. Yep.
More cards? More
Very
cards
exciting.
for...
Well, I think, honestly, we've had a
For that
huge
guy?
docket of things to go ahead and go on
Whatever
through.
his name
but,
is.
Now we can all collectively exhale and leave a little bit more for the Guardians at home to discover when Heresy launches next week. But that concludes it for our show today.
Yeah.
So first things first, obviously,
I wish
Guardians to all
they
of you
showed
out there,
some of
even to the
Dungeon.
individual spamming my face as an emote in chat.
That'd
Thank
be
you all so
nice,
much for joining
but
us today.
that was pretty cool.
These shows are a ton of fun for us to get to put on. We love
guys
getting to
think?
share what we've been working on with
Was
all
it
of you.
good?
But it doesn't matter unless you show up. So
You guys got the
genuinely,
money
thank you
ready
all
for
taking
that
the time
Star
to join
Wars
us today.
collab?
Obviously, to our fire team in the back of the house,
Don't
to my compatriot and
put
social
it on my
media,
right
Mitch,
gift.
to Ashley, to Peyton.
I will donate
They're the ones really driving
some
the
money
stream. We
towards
just get to
it,
talk about what's on
'cause
stream.
I like
So
the
thank
game,
you for
so.
going ahead and lending us your talents. Obviously, to our friends here on the couch as well, Nico, who is somewhere around here. Obviously, Nico, thank you for joining us. Eric, Ryan, Dylan, thank you guys. We appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
Thank you.
To the crew here as well. Again, you have the challenge of dealing with me, so thank you all so much for your hard work. We seriously appreciate it. As a quick reminder to close things up, Heresy Act 1 launches just next week on February 4th. So go ahead, make sure you've got that day off. I don't, but I'll be cheering for all of you that do. So you can check out the Nether, all of the new gear and weapons that you're going to be able to have available to you. Start checking out how to get your hands on those exotics and building them all up. Our collaboration with Lucasfilm Games, Star Wars is pretty exciting. And of course, the Sundered Doctrine Dungeon Race will be there as well. That's right. So now we're going to go ahead and get ready to close things out. But before we do, we're going to leave the stream live for just a little bit longer. So if you need to go ahead and wrap up that Twitch drop, you can do so. And go ahead and do us a favor and stick around, because once we finish up here, we're going to raid our good friend Macdix. So while I appreciate the bits and cheers and everything here in chat, save your Twitch Prime sub, save everything you can, go over to him, give him a follow, donate to the Game to Give stuff, pardon me, if you can, to help us do some good to the Bungie Foundation. But that's it. So for now, thank you all so much again for joining us. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you all Starside.
Alright, Guardians. So what do you guys think? Was it good? You guys gonna play Destiny? Buy some Star Wars skins for $30?